Okay, so for today's notes, we're going to be talking about finding the volume of a cone. Now, really what you're concerned with for today is under the volume section. And to find the volume of a cone, the formula is going to be 1/3 base times height. Now, we know that a cone, the base shape, should always be a circle. So remember from the day previously, we talked about finding the area of a cylinder. Now, if you also notice, whenever we found the volume of a cylinder, we also had volume equals base times height. Well, we also have base times height here whenever we find the volume of our cone. All we're doing is dividing that by 3. Now, we're also going to be concerned with finding the area of our circle, which remember, if you go over here, is pi times r squared. But let's go ahead and turn to our next page. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in very quickly. Okay, so here they give us an example of a cone. Now remember, the radius is just to the midpoint. If they give you all the way across, that's going to be your diameter, and you have to divide by 2. Now to find your height, that's going to be the center of your cone to the vertex or the peak of this cone. That is your height. These are the only two that you're really concerned with. Now, if they give you your slant height, we're not concerned with the slant height whenever we find our cone. Or whenever we're finding the volume of this cone. But here they give you the formula volume equals 1/3 base times height. Now, yesterday we learned that B stands for area of our base. And since we know that the area of the base shape of this circle is a square, we can now transform this formula into 1/3 pi times r squared times our height. But it's very important that you go ahead and find the area of your base first before you apply it into your formula. But let's go ahead and look at our first example. Okay, so example 1, we're finding the volume. So first we're going to go ahead and identify our base, and since we know that we're finding the area of a cone, the base shape is going to be a circle. Now I'm just going to go ahead and drag this B that stands for base over to go ahead and indicate that that is my base. Now let's go ahead and look at my dimensions. Now here, since they only gave us halfway going on this circle, they told us that it's 3. If the distance only goes halfway, that's going to be our radius, so this is going to be 3. Now, since it's also asking for my diameter, I'm just going to multiply my radius by 2, and I now get that my diameter is 6. Now, talking about my height or looking at my height, remember that's the distance from the middle of my base to the peak. So here that's going to be 6 inches. Okay, so again, we're finding the height from going from the center of my base shape to the vertex or the peak of my cone. So now the shape of our base we established was a circle. And we know from the previous day that the formula for a circle is pi times r squared. Because remember, if they give me B, that is asking us to find the area of my base. Now, remember, it's pi r squared. So to get the alt symbol, the alt code for pi, we're going to hold down alt on the keyboard. And we're going to press the number 2, 2, and then 7. That's going to pop up pi. We're multiplying this by r squared to get the superscript 2 to the power of 2 on this Google slide. We're going to go ahead and press down the alt code, and I'm going to type 0178. And now I have pi r squared here. So now looking at this, I'm going to go ahead and first, before we can find the volume, we're going to go ahead and find the area of my base shape. So I have pi times r is 3 squared. So in my calculator, I'm going to put pi times 3 squared, and here I get 28.2743. Now remember, we're going to go ahead and round this to the tenths place, so this is going to become 28.3. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. Okay, so now that we have found the area of my base shape, I'm going to go ahead and apply this into our formula here. So here we have volume equals 1/3. Our base, the area of my base was 28.3. And I'm multiplying this by my height. Now my height is 6. So in my calculator, you can do this one of two ways. You can either do control divide, 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. I'm multiplying this by 28.3 times 6, so you can do it that way. Or you can go ahead and do 28 point, well, you can press Control Divide. You can first multiply 28.3 times 6 and then divide it by 3. You're going to get the same thing. Or you can take 28.3 times 6, press Enter, then press divided by 3, and you'll get the same answer either way you do it. It's whichever way you feel comfortable on doing this. And here we got that the volume of this cone was 56.6. So here, 56.6. Now remember, the unit that we use whenever we are finding volume is cubic units. So that's going to be anything that you find, this it's going to be raised to the power of 3. So here it's going to be inches cubed. So I'm going to write IN for inches, and then for cubed, which is to the power of 3, I'm going to press Alt on the keyboard, and I'm going to put the letter 0179. Okay, so that was our first example. Let's go ahead and look at the next. Okay, so for example 2 here, they went ahead and gave us a net. Okay, so here is the cone, and then here's my base shape. Now, again, I know the base shape of a cone is going to be a circle. So, looking at this, the diameter goes from, the diameter here goes all the way across. So here, the diameter of this cone is going to be 12. Now to find the radius, I'm just going to cut that in half. I'm going to divide it by 2, so my radius is 6. Now when it comes to my height, remember over here, this was my slant height, and this was my height. So here, this should create a 90-degree angle. Looking here, the measurement that is associated with the 90-degree angle is going to be 8 centimeters. So here our height, our h, is going to be 8. Now again, the shape of our base was a circle, and the formula for area of a circle, the area of our base shape, that's what big B stands for. The area of a circle is pi times r squared. So we're going to type Alt 227. That's going to give us the pi symbol. I'm multiplying this by r squared, and to get the superscript 2 to the power of 2, I'm going to hold the Alt key on my keyboard, and I'm going to press 0178. So that being said, let's go ahead and find the area of our base shape. So here I'm going to take pi, and I'm going to multiply this by r, our radius, which is 6 squared. So in my calculator, we're going to write pi times 6 squared. So here I get 113.097. Again, we can round this to the tenths place, so this will be 113.1. 113.1. Okay, so now we need to apply this into our formula. So we have volume equals 1/3 base, or the area of my base, times my height. Now the area of my base was 113.1, and I'm multiplying this by my height, which is 8. So again, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can put this in your calculator. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the way it looks. So here I'm going to press Control Divide. That's going to pop up my fraction. I'm going to put 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. Before I enter everything else, I'm going to go ahead and step out of my fraction. And I'm multiplying this by 113.1 times 8. Now here I get 301.6. So here the formula for this cone, or the volume of this cone, is going to be, again, 301.6. And since our unit here is centimeters, it's going to be centimeters cubed. And to get the cube, we're holding on the Alt symbol, or the Alt key, 0179, release, and it'll give us the superscript 3. Okay, so now let's go ahead and continue on to our third example. So here it says, example 3, the cup is halfway full. Find the volume of the water. So here, looking at our cone, our base shape of our cone is up here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the overall volume of this cup. And since it's halfway, we're going to go ahead and divide that by 2 to find this volume down here. Now, looking here, my diameter, here they give me my radius because it only goes halfway across my base shape. So here my radius is 3. Now to find my diameter, I'm just going to multiply my radius by 2. So to go all across this circle from edge to edge, it'll be 6 inches. Now my height is going to be, now looking here, probably distinguishing between 5 and 6. Now remember that this 5 is the slant height. That's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the distance between the center of my base to the peak or the vertex. So here it's telling me that that distance is 6. So here I'm going to type in the number 6. So here again, the shape of my base is a circle. And the formula for area of my base, which is big B, of a circle is pi times r squared. So again, to get the pi symbol, I'm going to hold down Alt 227, and it pops up pi. I'm multiplying this by r squared, and to get the superscript 2, we're going to go ahead and type in Alt 0178. And it'll put in the superscript 2. Now, if you're not comfortable with using that, you can always do the caret top symbol and 2, but I just think this looks a little bit nicer. But anyways, before we go ahead and find the volume of this cone, we first need to find the area of my base. So the area of my base is pi times r, which is 3 squared. So going to my calculator, I'm going to type in pi times 3 squared. And I get 28.2743. So I'm going to round to the tens place, and this will now become 28.3. So now looking at the volume here, I'm going to go ahead and substitute the area of my base into this formula. So here we have 1/3 times 28.3 times my height, which is 6. So let's go ahead and put this in the calculator. So again, I'm just going to type it as it appears. So I'm going to press Control Divide. I'm going to put 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. Then I'm multiplying this by 28.3 times 6. So here I get 56.6. But that's not my final step. Remember, this is it's only halfway full. So here, if this equals 56.6, since it's halfway, I'm going to have to divide by 2. So 56.6, divide that by 2. The volume of just the water in the cup, since it's halfway full, is 28.3. So the volume is 28.3, and this is going to be inches cubed. So Alt 0179. Okay, so that was example 3. Let's go ahead and look at our last example. Okay, so example 4 says, find the volume of this cone. Now here they went ahead and gave you a little, kind of a little hemisphere on top. We're not concerned with that. We're just trying to find the volume of this cone down here. Now, the base shape of this cone is going to be right here. And this again is the area, or which is my base, my big B, and that's what I'm going to find the area of. Now, here they went ahead and told me that across this is 10, so that's my diameter. Now, to find my radius, I'm going to divide that by 2, so my radius is 5. So, now my height, now you're distinguishing between 12 and 13. Now remember, you want to choose the number that's closest to the 90-degree angle. That's going to tell you that that is the height from the center of your base to the vertex of your cone. So your height here is going to be 12. Now, this question says, how could you get the height if it were not given to you? So, for example, maybe they gave you your diameter and they gave you your slant height. Remember, you can always use the Pythagorean theorem to find that missing leg. Okay, so again, the area or the shape of our base is a circle. Now, the area of a circle, which is the formula for big B, is going to be pi times r squared. So we're going to hold the alt key to 27, and I'm multiplying this by r squared, which is to the power of 2, which is going to be alt 0179. I'm sorry, that was cubed. Squared is going to be alt 0178. Okay, so before we can find the volume of this cone, let's go ahead and first find the the area of my base. So here I have pi times r, which is 5 squared. So I have pi in my calculator to find the area of my base. I'm putting pi times 5 squared. And I get 78.5398. Okay, so now we can round this to the 10th place. This is we're gonna leave it at 78.5. So big B is gonna be 78.5. So coming over here, now to find the volume of just this cone, I'm gonna apply this to the formula. So here we have 1/3. Big B, which is the area of my base, is gonna be 78.5. Now I'm multiplying this by the height of my cone, which is going to be 12. So coming over here, I'm going to put control divide. I have 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. I'm multiplying this by 78.5 times 12. And here I get 314. So the volume of this cone is going to be 314. And my units is centimeters. So centimeters cubed. So remember, in volume, we deal with cubic units. So this is going to be alt 0179. That's going to give you the superscript 3. So that was finding volume of cones. Go ahead and complete your assignment. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us.